Switchgrass is a native warm season crop that is very long lived. Switchgrass itself the roots can live for up to 150 years or more, and they grow quite deep and quite extensively in the soil. It's a very fine fibrous root system that spreads down and outwards, and the only real limit to how big the root system gets is water table and barriers. Switchgrass is relatively easy to plant. It is a seed. The seed's quite small. It's about the same size as alfalfa seed, but any drill can plant the seed. It should be planted fairly shallow, half an inch, quarter inch, about a centimeter deep. The seed starts to grow and establishes itself slowly over the first year. It is quite slow growing in the first year. It's not very competitive. It does not outcompete weeds. The weeds will grow. The best control of weeds during the establishment year of switchgrass is through mowing. I wouldn't suggest putting any nitrogen fertilizer on the year of establishment, because that just encourages weed growth and you'll have more trouble with weeds that establishment year. Switchgrass will be putting roots down throughout the establishment year and establishing its root system. That's where most of the energy is going. And so when you get to the fall, there won't be a huge amount of growth. There might be a foot, 30 centimeters of top growth. The root system has been developing through the whole season. Once you get into year 2, the crop is better established. It starts growing fairly early in the season, around the end of April, early May. It is a warm season grass after all, and does like warm temperatures, so it will not grow until it gets warm enough out. So it does require warm temperatures to get going, but once it does get going in the second year, it's usually dense enough and thick enough to outcompete weeds, and you don't have to worry about weeds so much. There might be some perennials get through, or some of the hardier weeds, but generally there is very little weed competition the second year. In the third year, the switchgrass crop really gets going and will outcompete just about any weed that there is. The first year, there probably won't be any harvest from the switchgrass. Second year, there's about a 50 to 75% harvest, and by the time you get to the third year, you get pretty close to the yields that you're going to get throughout the rest of the life cycle of the switchgrass plants. Switchgrass does respond to nitrogen. Adding somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 kilograms per hectare, 45 pounds per acre of nitrogen to the soil will definitely help switchgrass. I would not do that the first year. Second year and on is when you apply the nitrogen. That thickens things up, gets the crop growing, and increases yield enough to pay for the nitrogen. Switchgrass will grow throughout the growing season. Generally in the Ridgetown area, where we get 3,450 heat units, it will put a head out in early to mid-August. At least the cave-in rock variety will do that. The heads will have seed in them. The seed is viable. One of the nice things about switchgrass is if there aren't any holes in the stand, the switchgrass will self-seed. If you let the seed mature in the plant, it will fall, it will self-seed, and it will fill in those small holes that may develop through poor establishment initially, or for whatever other reason you might get a hole in the stand. So once the crop has headed, then it starts to prepare itself for winter, and in doing that, it sends a lot of the nutrients that were in the leaves and the stalks down to the root system, where it's stored for use the following year. That movement of nutrients down to the root system is quite important for two reasons. It improves the quality of the top growth for things like burning. It reduces the amount of P, K, and other nutrients in the top growth, which makes it burn better and cleaner. And it also prepares that crop for the following year. The crop generally doesn't turn brown. It stays green until you get a frost. About a -2 degrees Celsius frost will kill the top growth. And once that occurs, you can go through and windrow the crop cut it and windrow it in preparation for baling. It's tough to bale it in the fall. It's tough to get it dry enough to bale in the fall, so you can leave the crop in the field over winter. And what that will do is allow the switchgrass to dry down. And by springtime, by the time you can get through in the springtime, the switchgrass will be of a moisture content suitable for baling so that the bales don't heat up. The harvest of switchgrass can take place in the spring. The switchgrass can be either baled up or it can be chopped with a 4-H harvester and blown into trucks. It all depends on your market, how that market is going to want the switchgrass. Some markets might want bales, some might want loose. That's a quick summary of switchgrass. It is a perennial crop that's different from a lot of the crops that we grow. It will last for many, many years, and you don't have to worry about planting. You just have to deal with harvest, fertilizing, and making sure that insects, diseases, and weeds are well scouted and controlled as they appear.